Good morning. The latest business news, stock market updates, interesting guests, and much more is on the way. Welcome to Business for Breakfast, KFNN's long-running show that gets you the news you need to start your day. And to serve it up, here are Ken Morgan and CFP Julie Doherty.
Good morning at 6:07 on Tuesday morning, July 27th. Well, I guess bank robberies are all too common, but this is a little bit different. Authorities in the Pittsburgh, PA area say a man robbed a bank wearing a blonde wig, fake breasts, and clown pants.
Well, the clown pants give it away.
This guy's 48 years old, Dennis Hawkins, and they found him sitting in his car with a dye pack exploded all over him.
Which messes up the clown pants every time.
He robbed the place using a BB gun that he had shoplifted from some other place.
Oh, boy. Off you go.
Standard attire for bank robbers.
One more knucklehead off the street.
Clown pants. That's right. Joining us now is Senator John McCain. Good morning, Senator.
Good morning. How are you?
Wonderful. Thanks so much for being here. I guess running for the Senate has its benefits in that you don't have to run as often. I just want to ask you.
Thank goodness, huh?
After years, what is your approach when you go into a campaign? Are you kind of dreading it? Are you excited like you were years ago?
Oh, it's exciting, and you have to understand that you got to earn every vote. Every election is a new election, and it's fun and exciting, and traveling around the state. John Kyle and I were out in Chandler, and then down in Tucson and up in Prescott on Saturday, and great attendance at town hall meetings and a lot of spirited discussions. People have very strong opinions these days, as you well know, and they're well deserved, and they're fun. I mean, I would rather have those kinds of exchanges than most anything else, and I think people come away from them. They may disagree, and they may not want to vote for you, but at least they've had a chance to engage in the dialogue, which is important given the woes that affect our state today.
Well, the new Rasmussen poll shows that Mr. Hayworth has a pretty big hill to climb in the primary. I saw the debate that you gentlemen had a couple of weeks ago, and I just wanted to go over and pat Mr. Deacon on the head. He doesn't even get mentioned in these stories.
Yeah, he's a nice fella, and I thought he did a good job that was the first time he'd ever been in any kind of debate format, and frankly, I thought he did a good job. He conducted himself well. He hammered away at both me and Congressman Hayworth, and he did. I thought he did a fine job, and it's not good to have him in the debate.
When you chat with your colleagues there in the Senate building about Arizona and this bill, which is now hours away, what are they saying about us?
Well, they're saying that at least on my side of the aisle, that they don't get it. Where's the lawsuit against Chicago for being a sanctuary city, for in absolute contradiction to immigration laws? Why is the president not urging more security on the border? Every day there's another article about the rise of violence south of our border. There's an article in I guess it's the Wall Street Journal this morning about how it's spreading from the southern part of Mexico into Central America. Look, I mean, this violence level that's going on in Mexico, just south of our border, is something that is a national security issue. And
speaking of the Wall Street Journal today, there's a story about the fight over the stimulus package right now, whether there will be more, whether we're going to start cutting back on spending, or what's going to happen there.
Well, if you look at public opinion, the American people are sick and tired of this profligate spending. For the first time since I've been in public life, there is a deeper and abiding concern about the debt and deficit that we are laying on our kids and our grandkids than I've ever seen before. And it's justified. As you know, it's $13 trillion and going up. They just revised, and they do it on last Friday night, that the debt was now going to be $1.4 trillion for 2011 rather than $1.2 trillion. The numbers are staggering. So I think that one of the sources of anger and frustration is this debt and deficit. because the concern people have about their kids and their grandkids. We are finding out, that this jobs creation thing is phony and bogus. And finally, you might remember when we passed the stimulus over my strenuous objections, they said the maximum unemployment, this is what the administration, the president said, would be 8%. It's still at 9.5%, and people say that it's going to be a long, long time before it really starts improving. That's the proof of the failure of the stimulus package.
Senator McCain, in light of your comments about the budget deficit and your concerns about our debt, one of the other things that was passed over your strenuous objections in the past were the Bush tax cuts for the wealthy. Mm-hmm. How do we renew those for the top 2 or 3% income earners when we have so much debt on the books?
Well, let me just say first, I objected to the fact that we had not cut spending, and we went from surplus to deficit, and the voters punished us because we let spending get out of control. And I said, look, you've got to cut spending as well. And we didn't cut spending. In fact, we passed things like $1 trillion Medicare Part D prescription drug proposal, which is another $1 trillion unfunded liability. My argument is that if we increase taxes, which will be the effect of not extending the tax cuts, if we increase taxes at this time that is such a delicate and tough time economically, then we will harm the economy even more.
But will we not add to the deficit by renewing the Bush tax cuts for the top 2-3% income earners?
I don't think so if we cut spending, and I think the biggest problem we have today, and I think you would agree, is the reluctance of businesses to invest because of the uncertainty that exists out there about laws, regulations, taxes. I mean, we just found out that in the healthcare bill now, every small business has to report to the IRS any transaction over $600. I'm sure you saw that, didn't you?
Are we not trying to get people who are cheating on their taxes?
Well, you balance that against the small business person who has a couple of employees that buys a couple of employers. Now he's got to find out the tax number, who it is he bought it from, and then he has to fill out a report. Isn't there a better way of doing that than laying it all onto the small business people in this country? I mean, so all I'm saying is that we have to cut spending. And by the way, David Cameron, the Prime Minister of England, was in town recently, and he and I met because we've known each other for a long time. And you know what the British are doing? They're going to cut government by some 25%. They're going to have the states, not their states, but the local economies take on more and more of the responsibilities, move the government out of London, out into the towns and cities across that country. That's the way that we need to do it, is to cut spending, cut the size. We have doubled the size of government since 1990.
So, but back to my question, you would vote to extend the tax cuts for the very wealthiest Americans.
If you think that people who make over $200,000 a year are the wealthiest of Americans, that's fine with me. I know a lot of small business people that make $250,000 a year, and they don't consider themselves rich. But far more important than that is, why would we want to increase anybody's taxes when the economy is limping along, especially Arizona's economy, in such bad shape? Congratulations to you, sir, with the money you're keeping and that we want you to invest and expand your business and hire people. We're just going to raise your taxes? I don't think we want to do that. And again, this is a big, as you know, this is a larger conflict between the Keynesian liberal economists and the Chicago school and
the trickle-down economics.
Well, if you call it trickle-down economics, I think that the fact is that it was supposed to be trickle-down stimulus package. It didn't affect the unemployment rate by about 2 or 3 partial percentage points. I mean, that was trickle-down stimulus, if that's what you want to call trickle-down tax cuts.
Senator McCain, I know you have to get to work today, and we've run up against the wall here.
Oh, listen, I always enjoy our spirited discussions. I really do, and I think it's important, and I think we need this discussion and debate. And Ken and Julie, we need this debate and discussion if we're going to come to consensus and fix this economy, and I'm proud to have the opportunity to be with you.
Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot.